let me transfer you.
Switch to Farm Bureau Insurance today and get real service instead of getting really tangled up. For auto, home, life, and health, get the membership advantage. Get Farm Bureau Insurance.
Well, thanks, guys, for coming out. We're about 4 days into practice, and things look very good. We have a nice veteran group of players, as you know, and coaching a veteran team is, much more fun, and there can be much more progress made quickly with a veteran group. There's not as much review, there's not as many mistakes, there's not as much stopping to correct mistakes. So, everybody's been playing well. Dan looks great, has played extremely well, is extremely competitive. He's very, very, very motivated for a big guy. I mean, you don't always see that with your big guys, or you don't see it as much maybe with your big guys as you hear about gym rats. Usually they're talking about guards or guys who are in the gym all the time. But Dan's very motivated, and I think that's rubbing off on everybody. David Gonzalez has had great practices. Ryan Butler, great practices. So those seniors have been very good, and the two freshmen we think are coming along, and all in all, we're very pleased with what we have so far, and can't wait till we get to start playing games for real.
Chris, would you guess in terms of a number what your rotation might look like? Have you gotten it to that point yet?
Yeah, we have some ideas. One thing, we think we have a lot of good players. This year we have 13 guys on scholarship, and we think Kevin Hovde just was injured over the weekend, but we think that those 12 guys can play and contribute. Playing 12 would be very, very difficult, but we think that we might be able to get up toward 9 or 10, John, and we have some ideas on how to try to do that that we're working on already, and making sure guys can get minutes without having Kevin Anderson and Dandro and Gonzo off the floor. So that's kind of the thing there. But we are working on some things, and I'll keep you posted.
With Kevin Hovde, is it anything serious?
It is. He broke his ankle and needed to have surgery 2 days ago. Apparently the surgery went very well, but it's still going to be a process, probably at least 10 weeks, if not more. And so it's so disappointing because of how hard he works and how much he cares about this program. And for a guy who was a walk-on, became a scholarship player, it's just a terrible luck for him his senior year that would happen.
Did you investigate a redshirt year?
This happened, we probably knew Saturday. He had the surgery Monday. His parents are in town, and we just wanted to get through this. And so I'm going to let Kevin bring that up to me, and we'd be extremely open to that.
Chris, those guys up there used the word swagger in describing Spider basketball, and it's been a long time since that word has been associated with it. How good a thing is that? How is their mental approach to understanding what people expect of them and what they expect of themselves?
Well, we met right before practice started and talked about expectations and, what we're reading in the national media, and that there are, in fact, high expectations for this team and this group. And what we've talked about is that we've always set our own expectations, and those have risen each year and probably dramatically over the last couple of years, and that the only expectations that matter are our own. And they're as high as anybody's, and we need to, when there are expectations, or when there is talent, when there is experience, there's more responsibility. And we don't want to run from that responsibility, and we have that responsibility every day to get better, to play hard, to push each other. There aren't as many young guys, but to make sure the young guys come along and they can help us. And I think it is a confident group. I think we've kind of earned the right to be confident. But at the same time, I think what we need to do is, just respect the situation we're in, and attack each day with respect to what we can accomplish and what it's going to take to get there. And there's so much experience. I think these guys do understand that.
As good as you guys were at the end of the season, and as much talent as you knew was coming back, how long was this off season for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're definitely excited and ready to get going. And, you know, this has been really a process for us to come in and really try to build the program as firmly as we could. And so to get to this point where we do have so many guys back, where we do have a good group, a pretty cohesive group, a group of guys that get along, you know, I think we kind of took the offseason in stride to say, you know, let's work on a couple of things. You know, most importantly, are we really dedicated ourselves in the weight room? We really dedicated ourselves to some individual development as we do every summer. And let's do that. Let's kind of take this in. Last summer we went to Spain. This summer we had a little bit more time to really try to not enjoy the summer, but to really try to maybe put these final couple of steps in place or these pieces in place so that we can be as successful as possible.
How easy is it to get Dan back into
the rotation of things in practice? Is it like, you know, 2 years ago, like he never left? Or, you know, do you have some feelings you have to massage because there's minutes now that were elsewhere last year that are now all going to go to him?
That's a good question. I mean, we did not pass on the opportunity to remind everybody how valuable Dan was and how good he was even when he was out. And so, no, Dan, you know, part of what makes him so good and probably the you know, maybe his biggest talent is just his feel for the game and his ability to play the game, which is so rare for a center. And so it has been no problem for him. I mean, he has come back in. We were fortunate because the last about 4 weeks last year he was able to practice. And so, you know, those practices really helped him probably from a confidence standpoint, both physically and mentally, but also from a standpoint of how he fits in with the team and what, you know, how his skills and his abilities show. And so this year, you know, right from the very first drill, I mean, he's been the guy, and he's been, you know, he's been very, very good.
He spent last year almost as an assistant coach. Have you noticed his, like you said, kind of feel for the game or knowledge of the game increase in that last year?
Definitely. You know, he has a great feel for the game. He has a great understanding of the game, and I think last year, for him especially, to be on the side and to be watching everything was valuable for him. I can't imagine anybody could have handled it any better than he did. Both the way he attacked his rehabilitation from the injury and the way he was with his teammates and with the staff and with everybody, never moping, just totally 100% supportive of the team. So I do think it helped him because he attacked it the right way, and I think that's going to go a long way for him, you know, both this year and throughout his career.
You mentioned expectations a few minutes ago, and that's why you're here, to have them. But how much of an adjustment is it going to be for everybody now that you have those expectations from the staff all the way down to the last guy on the bench?
Sure. Well, it is an adjustment, and it's a great adjustment. I talked to, I might have been talking to John, you know, years ago, even when I played in college, you know, Coach Carrill wouldn't, you know, never pay any attention to the preseason rankings or the predictions or anything like that. And it seems that those things have gotten more important, you know, because there are so many. There are, you know, just the excitement and the hype that surrounds those things. And in recruiting, it's certainly something that's very positive, you know, and otherwise off time of the year. So I do think that, you know, people are aware of it. All of us are aware of it, and it's something that we need to embrace because, you know, when we were here, you know, going into our second season, and we knew it was going to be a long, hard road, and we were picked low, and you know that was something that we had to go through. And now that we're, you know, kind of respected and thought to be good, then I think we need to embrace it and have as much fun as we can.